Okay, so welcome everybody. Um, Good to see you all. I think it's gonna be a one-sided talking today because everyone's driving or somewhere and everyone's black and I'm mute. So, so this week we will be celebrating shavuos. It's the day that we receive the Torah, the celebration of giving of the Torah. Um, and because we're celebrating the Torah, oh, and here comes Sylvia. Okay, great. Because we're celebrating the giving of the Torah, we're going to talk about that. So the question is learning Torah an academic pursuit? So just like you have, let's say if you're, hi Sylvia, just if you're learning Torah, I mean, learning another, I don't know, some type of other type of knowledge, some type of other subject, let's say science or law or I don't know what, you'll sit and you study the topic for a certain amount of time until you become an expert, and then you get your degree. You say, okay, I'm an expert in yada yada. So how about Torah? Is there any gain to just learn a little bit of Torah here, a little bit of Torah there, a little 5 minute, random 5 minutes of learning Torah? Or are you not going to really gain anything? Is it better to, just like any other subject, delve into it deeply and, know it really well so you can get your little certificate, I know Torah, at the end of your Torah course. So what do you guys think? I know we all know the answer, but let's hear if anyone is in a place where they can unmute and talk. Let's hear what you have to say about that. Is there a gain in small little 5 minute Torah learning, or is it just better to, when you have time and you can set aside, an hour a day or a few hours a week or whatever it is and really get to learn the whole thing? Okay, I have a bunch of new people here. Okay, so obviously, yes, 5 minutes of Torah learning have value. And so today we're going to delve into this topic of what is the value of the Torah? Why is it so special? Why is even just a 5 minute random learning of Torah something that is good for us? So Torah learning, we obviously got the Torah on Mount Sinai when the Jews left Egypt, but Torah learning did not begin at Mount Sinai. We see in the Midrash and the Talmud that our forefathers learned Torah even before the Torah was given. And the famous is there was a yeshiva called Shem the Aver. Shem was the son of Noah, and Aver was Noah's grandson, and they had yeshiva. So let's read Midrash Bereshis Rabbah, text 1. And Jacob was a man of integrity, living in tents. 2 tents, the house of study of Shem and the house of study of Aver. So Yaakov was known as somebody who studied Torah. And where did he study Torah? In these, under the auspices of Shem and Aver. So there was Torah study before the Torah was given. So what was that all about? What did Mount Sinai do that was different? And why do we celebrate the holiday of Shavuos if people were able to study Torah beforehand? So the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai changed our relationship with Hashem, and it changed Hashem's relationship with us. So let us look at that. So what is the Torah and what is the Torah all about? And what's the connection with the Torah and Hashem and with the Jewish people? So there's a very famous I don't know what the word is, principles that Maimonides, that the Rambam laid down, called the 13 Principles of Faith, the Ani Mamin. And they're all basic principles of Judaism. And some people I know read it every day, say it every day in the davening, and the Chabad Siddur, it's not there, but it's still a very known thing. And if we look at number 9, it tells us something about the Torah. And it says, I believe with complete faith that this Torah will not be exchanged and that no additional Torah will be given by the Creator. Blessed is his name. So we see here, it says a Torah is from Hashem. That's a given. Okay, that's already, it speaks about it in one or the other. of the 13 principles of faith. I think in number, let's say number 8, I'm not sure. Okay, maybe not. And what it says here is Hashem will never change the Torah. He'll never add or take away a mitzvah that is in the Torah. Okay, and Maimonides explains that in text number 3. And if anyone wants to read, just shout out.
I'll read.
Okay?
I'll read.
Okay, great, Sylvia. Thank you.
It is clear and explicit in the Torah that it constitutes a commandment that stands forever and ever. It brooks no change, neither a reduction nor addition.
Okay, and Shelley joined too. Thank you, Sylvia. Now, is everybody on no video on purpose, or is it just my screen? Okay, I guess whatever. Okay. Oh, Shelley's on. Okay, fine. Hi, Shelley. Okay, so I can see you.
I just walked in.
No problem. Perfect. Thank you so much. We just started a few minutes ago. Okay, so there was a very famous. So Maimonides says nothing in the Torah is going to change. Once Hashem made the Torah and gave us on Mount Sinai, that's it. No changes. It's all whatever's there is there. Now, there's a Jewish philosopher, Yosef Elbo, who lived in the end of the 14th and beginning of the 15th century. And he says, wait, who says Hashem can't change a Torah? It's his Torah. Makes sense. We can't change it. But if he decides to change it, what's the big deal? Why can't Hashem change the Torah? Maybe he'll make like a second revelation like Mount Sinai, and he'll decide that he's going to change things in the Torah. And so we are going to read text number 4. Shelley, do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'd have to fix something on my screen though.
Okay.
Okay, Maimonides' words here require careful consideration. From where did our teacher derive this principle? Although this principle is surely of great importance, and if Maimonides derived it from tradition, we must accept it graciously. Still, if it derives from his own reason, there's room to inquire. After all, the Torah warns only not to add or detract from the mitzvot on our own account. But what can possibly prevent God from adding or subtracting when his wisdom decrees?
Okay, so this Rabbi Yosef Elbo says, hey, Hashem, there are, I trust Maimonides. He's a pretty, strong figure in Jewish law and Jewish philosophy. But why can't, if Hashem decides to change something, why can't he change it? We can't change it, but why can't Hashem change it? Now, he says, hey, now if we look, there are certain changes that happened in the time of Adam. Adam was commanded, he was able to eat vegetation, fruits, and vegetables. He could not eat meat. When Noah came along after the flood, Hashem commands Noah that he could eat meat, he just can't eat directly from a live animal. And then when it comes to the time of Abraham, he commands Abraham to have a circumcision, to have a bris milah. So you see, Hashem changed things, albeit, yes, it was before the giving of the Torah, but there were some changes. So what if Hashem decides now to change something? Why can't it be changed? And number.
So since Mount Sinai, once we have the Torah physically in this world, it can't be changed.
But the question is why? We're going to learn why.
Because it became a mitzvah at that point. In other words, Mount Sinai changed the relationship between Hashem and the world by bringing the physical and allowing it to become spiritual, and the spiritual to be affected by the physical. Whereas before Mount Sinai, let's say, for example, Bilam was done with the rod by Yaakov, but it didn't permeate the world.
Right, so the question, but it's still, why can't Hashem say, okay, now we are going to celebrate Shabbos on Sunday or something, and it's still, all those same things will still go in effect. Why is it different now? So yes, you're right. There was a lot of changes when Hashem gave the Torah, but why can't the Torah itself, if Hashem decides he wants to change it, why can't it be changed?
I have a question. Is it anything to do because it's written? It wasn't ever written before. Everybody knew it in their head, right? You know what I'm saying? But now we have a tangible, actual document. Before it wasn't an actual document. Does anything to do with that?
Could be. We actually spoke about that a little bit, I think, last week, but okay. Anyway, let's read what Maimonides says about these changes. Okay, text number 5. Sylvia, you want to read? If there's anyone else that
Sure.
wants to read, let me know, okay? Besides for Sylvia and Shelley.
6 precepts were commanded to Adam. It appears from the Torah's words that Adam was commanded concerning them, and the prohibition against eating flesh from a living animal was added for Noah. And so it remained throughout the world until Abraham. Abraham arose and was commanded, in addition to these, regarding circumcision. He also introduced some morning prayers. Isaac separated tithings.
Tithes, yeah.
Is it tithings? Tithes.
The tithe
And
or
introduced
tithe?
an additional prayer before sunset. Jacob added the prohibition against eating the sciatic nerve and introduced the evening prayers. Sciatic nerve, really?
Yeah, I thought we don't eat the bottom half of the animal.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously before the giving of the Torah, there's all these changes, but once the Torah was given, as Maimonides says, it cannot be changed. So, but Yosef Albo, this philosopher, still argues that point. Let's see what he says. Text number 6. Okay, Shelley.
The food most appropriate for a child is milk, while an adult's proper food is bread, meat, and wine. Similarly, the divine commandments transform with the times. Thus, meat was forbidden to Adam and permitted to Noah and his descendants. At any rate, this proves that although divine laws are never repealed, they apply to each instance differently. What is prohibited may be permitted, and what is permitted may be prohibited, depending on the character of the recipients.
Okay, so Rabbi Yosef Albo saying, hey, sometimes times change, things are different. There's laws that in the Torah and the Talmud that are regarding health that maybe don't apply today. So are they still a mitzvah? Are these, as things change, maybe certain things in the Torah should change, and especially if Hashem is the one that decides to change it. So what is going on here? Okay, so years later, in the 16th century, another rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Trani, he debates this Rabbi Yosef, and he says, Hashem is perfect. So when he made the Torah, he made it perfect, and he knew what was going to happen. He knew everything, and so he made it how it's supposed to be, and it can't change. So why is Rabbi Yosef arguing this point? Okay, text number 7, Sylvia.
Considering the Torah's giver, namely God, the Torah is perfect. No change ever befalls God. So too, no change ever arises in the words of his mouth, for change cannot emerge from the changeless. The verse refers to this whenever it states, I am God, after issuing a mitzvah, alluding to the verse, you shall keep all my statutes and laws, and you shall do them. I am God, meaning you ought to hold in your heart those commandments with appointed times until their time arrives, and so too the rest, and do them for I am God, just as I am God, eternally free of change, so too my statutes and my laws shall never be changed or replaced.
Okay, so Torah and Hashem are one. Hashem is eternal, so his rules that he made are also eternal, okay? So he made them in a perfect way, and there's no need to change. So according to Rabbi Yosef, different times had different circumstances in the Torah, but the Torah is called Sefer HaChaim, the book of life, because it's forever. We learn it's a book of life because when we follow the Torah, if we keep the Torah, there's so many benefits to our life. Like we have all these side benefits that the Torah gives us that makes our life, first of all, healthy, well, wholesome, it makes us have a good and meaningful life. So when we keep the Torah gives us a good life, and that's why it's called the book of life, at least one of the reasons that it says here. Okay. And the Torah is eternal, so again, it's just Hashem is eternal, so he made the Torah that's eternal. Nothing changes. Let us read text number 8 from Pirkei Avos. Back to Shelley.
Great is Torah, for it gives life to its adherents in this world and the world to come, as the verse states, for they are life for those who find them and healing to all their flesh.
Okay. So if it's to live, if the Torah is given that we should live our life, that we should have a good life and be healthy in all forms through doing the mitzvahs, then it should be able to change because life is different. Let's say, look at life now. How is the human being, how's the human body now compared to what was 1,000 years ago? How do we conduct ourselves? How do we think compared to 1,000 years ago? Things could be very, very different. Even in the times from Adam versus Noah, things were different. For the very fact that Noah was commanded to eat meat. So why can't Hashem change the Torah if he sees fit? So it will be for our benefit. So because, our bodies are different now than it was then. So why aren't there some changes that Hashem enacts? So there's actually a guarantee that the Torah will never change.
There's no Moses to accept it. I mean,
Well, just like Hashem created Moses then, he creates Moses now, or whatever it is. Okay, so when Hashem gave the Torah at Sinai, it wasn't just about us. It wasn't about us getting something from Hashem. It wasn't just about us getting a book of life that we're going to benefit from. There was a major shift in the world, as Dina said before, that the heaven reached the earth, and now the things that we do on earth could become spiritual, and we could imbue the physical with the spiritual and all that kind of stuff. The first word that Hashem said when he was giving the Torah, so it was the first thing he said was the 10 Commandments. And the first word of the 10 Commandments, anyone know what the first Hebrew word is? It's
I'm Hashem, your God, who took you out of Egypt.
Right, and in Hebrew, what's the first word?
Anochi.
Anochi. Anochi is I. Okay? I. What does that mean? Text 9a there. Okay.
My last one was really short. You want me to read this one too?
Sure.
Okay, Rabbi Yochanan himself said the first word of the 10 Commandments, Anochi, is an acronym for the words, I myself wrote and gave it. Ana nafshi ketavit yehavit.
Okay, so what is I myself? I myself wrote and gave it. Okay, Anochi. So Sylvia, you'll read the Rashi. It's a really short one.
I myself, I personally.
So Hashem himself wrote the Torah and invested himself in it. His desire is in the Torah. His will and his desires, his essence is in the Torah. So before the giving of the Torah, before Sinai, if you're in Torah, it was, a nice thing. It maybe gave benefit to your life. It was like the secret, the secret of longevity, the secret of good life, the secret of relationships, whatever it was, the secret of good stuff, and very nice. But after the giving of the Torah, it created a whole different reality, and that is because now the Torah's Hashem's essence was bound within the Torah. It's his innermost desires. It cannot be changed. So what is true of Hashem is true of the Torah because they are one. Okay, so Torah isn't just a body of knowledge. It establishes a deep connection with Hashem and with his essence. It's our path to connect with him. So it's not particularly, and so yes, you may have benefits from if you follow the everything in the Torah, and there might be good for your life, and you have all these, we always say, when we follow this mitzvah, it's good for us in this way. We follow that mitzvah, it's good for that. Those are just benefits. And that's not the real reason that we keep the Torah. Even if we don't have those benefits, we still keep the Torah. Why? Because it connects us with Hashem. And we're going to read what the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, writes in Tanya. Okay, well, I guess before that, one second. Here, a little synopsis, okay? So answers. At Mount Sinai, the Torah transformed into an expression of God's innermost desire. Being bound up with God, the Torah became immutable. What is true of God is true of the Torah because they are inextricably one. God is the ultimate truth and never changes. Therefore, the Torah can never change. After the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai, the Torah became a means of establishing a deep personal connection with God. Before Mount Sinai, the Torah served as a means of producing societal benefits. However, after Mount Sinai, the Torah's defining quality became its eternal articulation of God's innermost desire. The benefits of society that God's commandments engender became a secondary advantage. Okay, so the main thing of when the Torah was given is now it's so bound with Hashem and his essence and his will that whenever we learn Torah or do something from the Torah, we are connecting directly to Hashem. Okay, so let's see what the Alter Rebbe says about that. Text number 10.
Well, I have a question though, that at the time the Torah was given to Noah or Abraham, that was their Torah at that time, or Adam and Eve, or whatever you want to call it.
So it wasn't really given to them, but they were able to learn the secrets of it. Yeah, they were able to learn
Well,
it.
that's,
Kind of
well,
like
that's what I said earlier. So I'm saying.
yeah,
But,
yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's confusing
I didn't
because now
discount
you're
what you
saying
said.
well, is it the same or different? Now I'm more confused.
So now,
because-
no, once Hashem gave the Torah at Mount Sinai, then it was different.
Why? Oh, so it was, so okay, so he did change it up until then. That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
it was more fluid then.
Yeah, but it's the same word, Torah. So what was it before?
Yeah,
It can't
because
be the
Torah
same
means
word.
lessons, learning. So it just the connection to Hashem of the Torah became different.
So why did it stop? I still don't understand. Now I totally don't understand why it stopped. I'm more confused than I
Why
was.
what stopped?
The learning. And there was a change.
No,
the
we're still
change-
learning.
No, the change stopped because remember Adam's is different. and
Because
then-
once he gave it to us as a nation on Mount
Right.
Sinai, that changed the whole
Yeah, but Adam and Eve were there. It was our nation then. Noah was our nation.
no,
Abraham
they
was
weren't. It wasn't a
people.
nation. They were just people.
Yeah,
They were just
Abraham was.
individual
But
people.
nation is people. Is the same word. Nation is people. It's the same word in Hebrew. Same word.
No,
Sorry,
but where did it say that they were a nation?
but is a nation.
No,
and it's
where
a
did it
people.
say Where did it say that
Well,
Adam
well, you
was
said- no.
and Noah was
Because you just said it was people. You said it in English.
as in
You
No.
said it. You said
people,
people.
as an individual person, not as in a nation of people.
So in other words, quantity. In other words, it's one person doesn't count. That's what it sounds-
Individual as opposed to community.
Okay, so one person doesn't count. Okay,
Once
so I'm
they
getting
went
at.
down to Egypt, and in Egypt they slowly became a nation, a people as in community.
It has to be quantity. That's what I'm getting.
Okay, next number 10.
Torah study is referred to as calling, kriya, as in to call, read aloud the Torah. This is significant for though engaging in Torah study, we call to God to come to us, as it were, just as one calls to a friend and to come close, and children call to their parents to come and be together with them, and not to be unattached from them and leave them alone, God forbid. This explains the verse, God is close to all those who call him, to all who call him in truth. For truth refers only to the Torah, meaning that one can call God through Torah, specifically in contrast to calling God by other means, such as crying, Father, Father.
So it's our way that learning the Torah, following the Torah is our way to give a call to God, to Hashem. So you say, hey Siri, call Hashem. Uh-oh, now my Siri just answered. Sorry, I don't
Did Siri
understand
call Hashem for you?
I can't find him in my contacts. Anyway, so so does that mean there's no value or benefit to the profound wisdom in learning Torah? Is it all just to connect to Hashem, all just to bind ourselves to Hashem? Or is there also some type of value in learning it and studying it? Okay, so if the Torah is Hashem's essence, why don't we all just spend all our day, all our time studying Torah? Right? We want to connect, we want to be close with him, and we want to bind ourselves with Hashem. So hey, let's just
we need to put it in practice. No.
Yeah, but we could just study Torah all day, and then and that's good. That will put enough in practice. So yeah, so we heard of work-life balance. So now we're going to learn about work-Torah balance. Okay, so yeah, you're right. We need to work. We need to earn a living. We need to, do whatever we need to do in our regular lives. The Torah itself, most of the laws of the Torah are about how we live our regular lives, our mundane lives. A lot of the laws are around that. We also, at the same time, need to take time to study Torah to connect to Hashem. So how do we do all that? What's the answer? What's the key? So the Talmud brings down a very interesting observation of two rabbis who have two different views, and then a few generations later, I guess a third rabbi sees which rabbi's views worked. Okay, so text number 11, Talmud, Brachos. Okay, I guess that's Sylvia.
The sages taught, for what did the verse state? And you shall gather your grain, because it is stated, this Torah shall not depart from your mouths. I might have understood this literally. So the verse says, and you shall gather your grain, behave according to the way of the world. So said Rabbi Yishmael.
Okay, so Rabbi Shmuel says you got to go according to the world. The Torah says gather grain, so you got to do things like gathering grain. Okay, next. Continue.
Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says, can one plow at plowing season, sow at sowing season, or sow,
Oh,
So
harvest at harvest season, thresh at threshing season, and winnow in the windy season? What will become of the Torah?
oh, sorry, continues. Hold on, let me look it. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Instead, when Israel performs God's will, their work is performed by others, as it states, and strangers will stand and feed your flock. When Israel does not perform God's will, they perform their work themselves, as it states, and you shall gather your grain. Moreover, they will perform other people's work, as it states, you shall serve your enemy. Abai, or Abaya said, many acted according to Rabbi Yishmael and succeeded in their study. Many acted according to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and did not succeed.
So Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is saying, hey, if we start working in our field, we start doing all the mundane stuff, we're not going to have any time for Torah study. But if we study Torah all day, Hashem will find a way, he'll find others to work our fields for us. And he was the opinion that people should just study Torah all day, full time. And Rabbi Shmuel said, no, because the Torah says, gather the grain, do these things, we got to do these things, and also find ways to study Torah in the middle. And this Rabbi Abaya, who came later, he said he observed this, and he says, well, look, the people who followed Rabbi Yishmael, those are the people who succeeded in studying Torah. The people who lived their mundane lives, and as Sylvia said, put into practice what they learned, that's what succeeded. Now, aside from this, I just want to share a story about a young boy. His name was Yisrael, and he loved to learn. At a very, very young age, he was surpassing all his teachers and his other kids that were his age. And he didn't even need someone to sit and learn with him. He was able to learn on his own from the Jewish books. And his father was a little worried, he's learning too much. It might not be so healthy for him. He needs to go out and get fresh air. He needs to run around and play ball. He needs to sleep enough and make sure he eats. And he tried to get his son to make sure, come home by dinner time so you can have dinner and go to bed, and take care of yourself. But this little boy Yisrael, he would, get lost in his studies, and he would forget, he would just be oblivious and forget to come home. So his father had a great plan. He said, okay, I guess it was winter time, and it got dark early, and he told the shamus, the caretaker of the shul, and he said, here, my son will get one candle every day, every evening. When that candle goes out, do not give him another candle, and then it'll be dark. He won't be able to learn. He'll have to go home, and then he'll come home and eat dinner and go to bed. And they thought it was a great plan. Okay, so the next night comes, and they're waiting, and it was an hour-long candle, and they're waiting an hour, and okay, he's gonna come home soon. No, 2 hours, still didn't come home. 3 hours, still didn't come home. Now Yisrael's father got really worried. He said, hey, what's going on here? Where's my son? And he came into the shul, and he sees his son with the candle learning, and he runs to the caretaker. He said, what did you do? I told you to only give him one candle. And the caretaker said, I only gave him one candle. I said, but his candle's still burning. And the caretaker says, no, I only gave him one candle. And they went to tell Yisrael. They said, hey, Yisrael, did you go get another candle somewhere? How could it be that you have another candle now? Why didn't you listen? You're supposed to come home after your candle burned down. And Yisrael, kind of woke up from his daze. He was so busy learning. And he looked at them in surprise, and he says, I didn't, and as soon as he looked up, the candle went out. And he says, I didn't get another candle. you told me as long as the candle burns, I can learn. And they realized that as long as the candle was burning, as long as Yisrael was learning, the candle stayed burning. It was a miracle. Because he loved his learning so much, God allowed, made this candle burn extra. And then he realized what a great boy this young boy was. And they let him learn as much as he wanted. And eventually he grew up to a very famous rabbi. His name was Rabbi Yisrael, the Maggid of Kuznets. So sometimes, for some people, it's very good for them to learn and learn full time. But for others, we need to more integrate our mundane lives with Torah study. And let's talk about that.
What did you say his name was again?
His
The
name was
rabbi?
Yisrael and became the Maggid of Kuznets. Kuznets, I'm assuming, is a place. Okay, so yeah, as I said before, not everyone can spend their time studying Torah. Plus, you need to feed your family. You have obligations, and learning Torah doesn't free you from your obligations. On the other hand, your obligations don't free you from your obligation to study Torah. So, earning a living, or making, doing what you need to do for yourself and for your family doesn't free you from Torah study. So you have to have the right balance. You have to do both. So how do we do this? Any spare moment that you have, here's a little thing about this. Okay, any spare moment that you have, if you have a coffee break, on your lunch break, or whatever it is, you need to take time out to do a little Torah study. So I know, I know some people, some Chabad people, let's say, who, whatever work they do when, they're not doing like a rabbi work, they're doing other type of work. And they do what they can to learn, to learn as much as they can. So some wake up really, really early and do a 5:30 a.m. learning session. Some have, like a lunch and learn. Like during lunch, they have a special shiur learning classes, or whatever it is, or if it's at night, late at night when they come home, or Shabbos, they stay in shul extra long to study. So you have to carve for yourself out times to study Torah, whether it's a short, small amount of time, or it's longer amount of time. But the Torah study of the business person is just as important as the Torah study of the Torah scholar. So let us read text number 12.
Joy and sincerity be diligent to keep fixed times for Torah study every day, in the Torah's revealed aspects, as well as Chassidut. In addition, undertake to love your fellow Jew and invite those who know you to join classes and study each according to their aptitude and talents. Furthermore, business people possess the great asset that only they can ennoble the streets and business places with pleasant light of godliness.
One second, they don't just mean actual business people who are doing business, they mean any people in like the regular working world. Okay, continue, sorry.
Something impossible for one who studies Torah full time.
Okay, continue, keep going.
A business person's mission consists of two main parts. One, the work within oneself, and two, the work of helping others, both of which refresh the soul. The work within oneself asks of a business person that a free moment during the workday, when one sits quietly in the store, to be a chance to learn a Mishnah or two, a chapter of Tanya, and that there be some words of Torah, Pentateuch, Psalms, Tanya, that one knows by heart for the purpose of reviewing them when walking in the street, in the market, in the store, and so on.
Okay, so any time a person has, they should really make sure that they use that time for Torah study, and not to just go scrolling on their phone and checking their Instagram account or the stocks of the day or whatever it is. So whether it's like a commute to work or on a lunch break or when you're grabbing a coffee or waiting for a client, always have something to learn or to listen to. So think of these Torah learning moments as little nuggets of gold, little golden nuggets. So collectively, they're very worthwhile and create a lot of, gold. But even one alone is still a little gold nugget. And interesting, this week's Parsha also has a connection to this idea. The Parsha begins, text number 13, Sylvia.
Count also the sons of Gershon, by the house of their fathers, by their families.
Okay, so count, that's the English word, but the Hebrew word is nasai, which doesn't really mean count. It really means lift or elevate, because like you kind of lift or uplift each person, and that's how you count them. So what is the idea of nasa, lifting, elevating? Text number 14, the Rebbe.
Simple people would certainly want to grow and reach a level of being uplifted. The previous Rebbe's teaching pertaining to how one reaches this level, whether one is of simple or high stature, is well known. One must know that it is arrived at through Torah study.
So Torah study is a catalyst for personal growth. So it helps you reach higher spiritual heights. So it doesn't make a difference if you're someone who learns Torah all day, or if you're somebody who is working or doing whatever other thing you might be doing, and you just have little times to study Torah. But either way, when you are studying that Torah, it's connecting you to Hashem. So before the giving of the Torah, learning Torah didn't connect you with Hashem's essence. Only now, after the giving of the Torah, that Hashem give us this awesome opportunity, and let's see how we make the best of it by trying to take as much time as we can to study the Torah when we have those moments, choosing to study Torah over doing something else. And let's read what the Rebbe says, text 15. So yeah.
The giving of the Torah began with Anohi, or Anohi,
yeah,
serving as an acronym for I myself wrote and gave it. This means that God embedded himself in the Torah, so that the Torah we learn here in this world is the very Torah rooted in God's essence, enabling the unity of Israel. The Torah and God are entirely one. As such, the sense in which Israel, the Torah, and God are entirely one is true of every Jew, even the simplest, and not only those simple in the intellectual sense, but also those of spiritually simple circumstances. In the moment we learn Torah, we are one with God himself.
It continues. Second, there we go.
It turns out that Torah study after the Torah's giving is precisely the opposite of the patriarch's Torah study. This is what happened prior to the Torah's giving. The patriarchs studied Torah without a moment's pause, as it says of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. My words that I have put in your mouth shall not depart from your mouth, nor the mouth of your children, nor from the mouth of your children's children. What's more, they probed the Torah's ultimate depth, width, and length. And yet, despite all that, they only succeeded in serving as a vehicle for godliness. But it is clear that after the Torah's giving, every Jew, whoever they may be, in any moment that they study Torah, even if they only do so occasionally, achieves unity with the Torah and God.
So Torah isn't like a science, a subject to be studied and mastered. It's a way to connect and bind with Hashem. So yes, we learn and we gain fascinating insights, but the main goal is connecting to Hashem and improving our spiritual stance. So any minute that we have to learn Torah, any small nugget that we can learn, a paragraph, a tidbit, or anything it all adds up. One time there was a chassid, and he came to the previous Rabbi, the Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, and he said, I only have a half hour every day to study Torah. What should I learn? And he said, maybe I should, he said, I think it might be a good idea for me to learn halacha, the basic law, so I'll know what I should and what I shouldn't do, what's permissible, what's not permissible. The Rebbe looked at it differently, and he said, study Hasidus, because then you'll come to notice that you really have much more than a half hour to learn each day. So let's all give it a shot. Watch our spiritual growth unfold by using, whatever it is, the 5 minutes you have, any time that you have to uplift yourself and learn Torah and connect with God, and then that'll only make you want to do it even more. So that is our lesson as we come to